Hey everyone, welcome back to another Mondays with Melissa on Mending Families. Hey, today I am answering a listener question. Last month in April, I answered a question about toddler tantrums, and there was some questions kind of in that as well about potty training. And so I had said before, I'm going to separate these and do two separate episodes. So that's what I'm doing today is answering some questions and giving my thoughts about potty training because, that can be pretty tough. So I have some thoughts and then I'm going to give you some suggestions. But before I do that, I want to let you all know that I am running a freebie right now. That is a one sheet. If you sign up for or if you grab the freebie, it's one sheet of 6 steps to calm the chaos in your home. So you'll want to grab this. The link will be in the show notes. Go to the show notes, click that link, and enter your name and email so that I can send that directly to your email inbox. And you will not regret getting this freebie. It is free. There's no strings attached. All you have to do is give me your name and email so they know who to send it to, where to send it, and it's yours. And on the cusp of summer starting, I think this is an amazing freebie that I think that you will benefit from. So I just want to make sure you know about that. I think it's super fun and an easy way for you to take steps in a positive direction. And so go grab that. Click the link in the show notes and you can grab that freebie. Okay, you guys, let's talk about potty training. So a few things that I want to talk about first before we really get into some tips and tricks. The first thing is really the average age that a US child is fully potty trained is the age of 4. So I feel like the questions that I was getting from people about potty trained oftentimes were about kids under the age of 4. And yes, this is fully potty trained about the age of 4, but this is average. So that means that there's going to be kids that take longer than that, and there's going to be kids that do it a lot quicker. So average is 4 years old. Okay. So I want us to keep that in mind. The other thing is that it's between the ages of 5 and 6 before a child is fully potty trained day and night. So the 4-year-old age is really just daytime potty training. Okay, that's not talking about then also sleeping through the night. That doesn't happen until between the ages of 5 and 6. So again, we want to hold this information because oftentimes I think we have this assumption that our kiddos need to be potty trained a lot earlier. And I think some of that comes from, doctors will start asking about potty training at about the 18-month well child visit. So we're getting that from a medical provider who is saying, how's potty training going? Have you started potty training? When we look at the statistics, like a healthy child who has not experienced any adversity is potty trained by the age of 4, average by the age of 4. So that does not mean every child. And also is not fully potty trained day and night until between ages of 5 and 6. So if we're feeling this pressure, which is I 100% believe it's non-intentional pressure. I do not think that our primary care providers, our doctors, are saying to us at 18 months of age, you need to start now. Why aren't you doing this yet? Right? I think that that's just how it comes across to us, right? So I want us to keep in mind that potty training can begin between ages 2 and 3. 18 months is pretty young, but there are some kids that are ready for it. And you follow your kid's lead. We're going to talk about that here in a second. But if your child is not even 3 yet and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I should already be potty training, or my child should already be potty trained by now, I want to let that pressure off. Because I think that is just some pressure that maybe you feel from society and culture that is actually not there. It's not real if we look at the scientific facts. Okay. So the other thing I want to point out, and I've already said this, is these numbers that I'm saying, potty trained around an average age of 4, fully potty trained day and night between the ages of 5 and 6, and starting to potty train between the ages of 2 and 3. These are for kiddos who have not experienced adversity. These are for kiddos who have not experienced trauma. These are for kiddos who are not neurodivergent, okay? So we want to keep in mind that this is the average child who has not experienced those things. And I think that we are learning through, as we learn together through this podcast, and just as we are learning more through really smart people that are doing this research, we're finding that we might be missing some our kids might actually have experienced some adversity, and we might have not really thought about that. And it can then affect other things like potty training and sleep and how they eat and things like that. So let's talk about that. I know that there's this cultural pressure, but I think if the first thing we can do is let that go, that's going to be amazing, right? If we can let the pressure of culture and grandma and grandpa and the preschool and the pediatrician pressuring us unintentionally, but pressuring us to get our kids potty trained, and we can just say to them, we're going to do it when our kid is ready. We're not there yet. And we feel confident knowing like this is what's best for our kid. That can help significantly, because here's the first thing, you guys, this is about us. Is this us wanting our kids potty trained by the time that they are 3 years old? Is this us feeling that pressure from grandma, grandpa, pediatrician, occupational therapist, whoever it is, to have our kids potty trained by the age of 3? Because then we're putting that onto our kids, and they're going to feel that pressure, and they're going to push back because that's what they do, right? So the first thing is my first tip on this is follow your child's lead. If they are showing zero interest in being potty trained, if it becomes a battle and you are finding yourself feeling activated or in kind of that protection mode that Robin Goebel talks about, if you're finding yourself in that place when you are trying to potty train your child, neither of you are ready. Because that, if you're feeling activated, that means that your child is pushing back and they're not feeling ready for this. They're probably feeling like they're in a protection mode right now. And that's not what we want for potty training. We want our kids to feel calm. We want to have them feel safe to explore this. We want them to trust that we are not going to push them and pressure them. And we want them to learn how to listen to their bodies, right? So that's the very first thing, is follow your child's lead. If they are showing an interest by really talking a lot more about it, or asking more questions about what it is and what body parts people have, what does daddy have, what does mommy have, how does pottying work, or even just trying to imitate what they're seeing, pulling down their diaper, wanting to sit on the toilet, even if it's just to sit on the toilet and do nothing. Let's follow that lead. Okay. So the second thing is, and I've already said this, but this is like a pointed point for you. No pressure. We have to let the pressure go. I know I said this already as well, but maybe you're not ready. If you find yourself getting frustrated, maybe you're not ready. And if you're not ready, your child is probably not ready. So we have to take that pressure off. We're not trying to impress anyone. We're not trying to win a race. We're not trying, it makes me think of the Bluey episode Baby Race, where Chili learns that it's not a race, and it doesn't matter whether you have 10 kids or 2 kids, every child is different. And you may have 2 kids and one of them potty trains before they're 4, and the other one is still not fully potty trained by the age of 6. And so, we want to make sure that we are taking that pressure off and seeing each child for who they are, how they feel in their body, what adversity they've experienced. And again, if I'm getting frustrated, then that's going to make potty training really, really hard, because then the message I'm sending to my kiddo is that potty training is frustrating and causes us to have this really high tension, and my kiddo is going to feel that energy, and then I'm going to feel their energy, and it's going to become this battle. We don't want that. That is not what potty training is supposed to be. Okay. The third thing is, for a third thing to think about, is just expect ups and downs. You can go 4 to 6 months where your kiddo is going potty in the toilet every single time, yay, or waking up dry in their pull-up every morning, yay, and then something happens, like maybe you get into a car accident, or maybe your pet passes away, or maybe they have some fall and break their arm and they have to go to the hospital, right? There's some event that happens that can disrupt their regulation in their body, that then can cause setbacks. Or maybe if you're parenting a child who has experienced trauma and adversity, Your child maybe is triggered by something. They see someone that reminds them of their abuser in the past, or they smell a smell that reminds them of something, or they just get this feeling inside that reminds them of something. They're triggered, right? And that can cause setbacks. And so it's very normal for there to be ups and downs. It's very normal for your kiddo to quote unquote have it for a few months and then start having accidents again, or start wetting their pull up at night again. And we'll get there, right? So we just keep doing what we're doing, stay consistent, follow their lead, no shame. We're not going to say, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? You have been dry every day for 4 months and now you start peeing your pants. Like, we're not going to have those frustrated feelings with them, because then they're going to absorb that and it's going to be a huge setback. It's going to take them that much longer to master that again. So potty training is not something that we want to make it be um, a negative thing. We want it to be positive. We want our kids to feel safe knowing that they'll have accidents and it's okay. So expect those ups and downs. Don't be surprised if accidents start happening at some point, or even if just for a 2 week period of time. I have no idea, but they peed their pants every day for 2 weeks. It could be stress, it could be anxiety, it could be whatever triggered them inside. It could be a past abuse. It could be a big event that just made them feel really dysregulated inside. There could be lots of reasons why they're having these ups and downs, and it's very normal. Okay. So a few more things that I want to point out, just three more things, and then we'll call it good for today. But the first thing is that we do know scientifically, research shows that girls do learn faster. So if you have girls and boys in your family, and for us, we had three girls and then a boy, and the girls definitely potty trained a lot quicker. But also, that's the way that it works. Like, girls tend to learn quicker than boys. So just remember that. Okay. The other thing is that it does take longer at nighttime to do the potty training than it does during the day. If we go back to what research shows, daytime fully potty trained, average age is 4, but fully potty trained through the night between 5 and 6. It just takes longer. So don't expect that when you potty train that it's all going to happen at the same time. We're going to work on daytime, and then that's going to teach them how to hold their bladders, and eventually they'll be able to sleep through the night, but that takes longer. Okay. And then the last thing is just plan ahead. So if we are not planning ahead, we're more likely to get frustrated and caught off guard and maybe say or do things that we don't mean in the moment, because we are not prepared. And so kind of that like unmet expectation thing, right? And so if we plan ahead, we can have waterproof sheets on. And what we like to do is actually we put two waterproof sheets on, so that if there is an accident at night, we just take the top one off and we can wash it, and we don't have to stress about getting it back on that night, because then there's already one on underneath. So that's just a little trick for you. But put two waterproof sheets on, and then if there's an accident, pop that top one off and you can wash it. It's not a big deal. Your kiddo doesn't even need to know. Like, you just pop it off, put the comforter back on, and we're good to go. The other thing is just always have changes of clothes with you. If your kiddo is going to school, make sure that there's multiple changes of clothes in their backpacks. If we're going on an outing, make sure that you pack multiple changes of clothes, because you just never know. And you don't want to be caught in a place where your kiddo has an accident that maybe they haven't had one for months, and then they have an accident and we're at some outing where it's just not convenient and they're soaking wet now, or worse, right? And now we have to leave. Or they're at school and they have an accident and they're so embarrassed they don't say anything, right? So we want our kids to know that it's okay to have accidents, and here's what we do. We grab our change of clothes, we change, we clean up, right? Obviously, this is a little bit older kiddos. If we're talking 2, 3, 4-year-olds, then we'll work with it a little bit different, but make sure that you have changes of clothes with you whenever you're going somewhere, until your child is like, has it mastered. And maybe even then after, because you just never know. The other thing is having wipes with you. So, if you have a kiddo going to school, put a few baby wipes into a Ziploc bag with the change of clothes, in a like plastic bag. So then after they change, they can put their wet clothes into that plastic bag, and they have a few wipes to kind of wipe themselves up and clean up. This is again for those older kids that might be in the, preschool, kindergarten age, just starting to teach them a little bit about like, it's okay to have an accident, but here's how we clean up, right? Having baby wipes just in the car, having baby wipes just handy, because then if your kiddo does have an accident, it's a lot easier to clean that up. And again, then we are less frustrated because we're prepared for it and we're not trying to figure out how am I going to clean this up. I have nothing to clean this up. Okay, so again, these are just some pointers, some tips, some things to think about, but I think you've probably heard the theme, which is we don't want to be frustrated. We want to plan ahead, and we don't want to have the bar set too high. Okay, so let's lower those expectations. We're going to follow our kids' leads. We are not going to get frustrated with them. We're going to plan ahead. And if we're not ready, then our kids are probably not ready. If we are getting frustrated, then we probably need to pause and come back to it in a month. Okay. All right, you guys, those are my thoughts for potty training. I hope that was helpful. As I said in the beginning, go grab that freebie about keeping calm, 6 steps to staying calm in your household, by clicking the link in the show notes. And you can follow me on any of my social media. You can also grab that freebie on social media as well. My handle is Mending Families, WA. All right, you guys, I will see you all next week. I'm excited for summer quickly approaching. Next week is already June. Have a great Memorial Day weekend, and I will see you guys next week. Okay, bye.